If your armpit is smelling or if your mouth is smelling, even that is much more self-evident than your goodness. Therefore, you say freedom means having choice. That's not true. Morality is the exact opposite of spirituality. I am trying to corner the stupidity. When the stupidity is cornered and strangled, intelligence will come. Don't ask somebody else what to do. Do you now see why a mental health pandemic is coming? Don't go to a spiritual talk, please, if this is what you do. Miserable people can only multiply misery in the world, even if they think they are doing righteous things. In many places in Ramayana, I don't know why people miss this. In many places in Ramayana, he is described by many people as Atmavit. You'll see that more in Krishna's life. He didn't care what people said. This is what has to be done now. I don't care what you label me. In our day-to-day language, we use this word good and bad. And the words good and bad, if you go into them, how we are using those words, what does the words imply? You will see that these words, both the words good and bad, are very abstract words. They are almost like the algebraic x, which can assume any value. See, for example, suppose I say, I am now feeling good. You may ask me, what does that mean? And I will explain it further. I feel good means I'm feeling pleasant, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling at ease. I will explain it with many other words. So the word I am feeling good means something. And when that is explained, okay, you understand. But whereas if I just say I'm feeling good, it's a very vague statement. That word good by itself does not represent anything. Like this, if you say, another example, if you say that talk was very good, I ask you, what do you mean? And you will tell it was very sensible, it was very logical, it revealed many facts, something. So, and you said the talk is very good. There, the good means something else. There, it doesn't mean pleasantness, it doesn't mean joyfulness, it means sensibility, logic, or whatever. Similarly, like this, you go on using this word good and bad. And whenever you use the word good and bad, it needs a further explanation as to what you actually mean by it. When the other explanations are given, then you'll say, oh, okay, I understand now. But if you just use the word good, it's a kind of joker card in the game of cards. It can assume any value. It can come in any place and assume any value. Another example, if you want. If you say that action, that particular act, what you did was good. People will sometimes say, what you did was good. And if I ask you to explain, what do you mean by what you did was good? You will say, oh, what I mean is that was the appropriate thing to do in that situation. So what you actually mean is appropriateness, but you say it is good. Like this, you get the basic point. Hundreds of examples you can give. The words good and bad, bad also. I didn't give example for bad, but the opposite of it you can think. The words good and bad by themselves don't capture anything. They are like X and Y in algebra. But in day-to-day language, many times we take it for granted. Many times we don't ask what it means because sometimes there is non-verbally it is communicated what it means. Or sometimes we assume something whereas what was actually told was something else. And so many things in language, it happens. This mishmash happens. Now, this is not, I'm pointing this out, not because this is a problem. I'm pointing this out because this is the limitation of the language. There are certain words which assume the status of a joker card like this. Good and bad probably are the most fundamental joker cards. They can assume too many values for themselves. By themselves, they are too vague. Now, this is how language works. There are many words like this. And this is not exactly my focus. Why I use this is, it leads to something more. What that something more is, see, when it comes to me, till now I was talking about two people interacting, two or more people interacting, you having to communicate to somebody. So that time you use the word good. And that leads to so much of vagueness, so many possibilities, and it needs to be clarified. So that's different case. But when it comes to you, how you perceive yourself, how you see yourself, how you experience yourself as nobody else is involved in this now. What are you? How are you experiencing life? When it comes to that fundamental aspect about what you are and how you are, if the words good and bad come there, they become the source of a lot of mischief. See, when I say, suppose I said that I am now feeling very joyful. I am very joyful. Or I am feeling very sorrowful. Or I am very angry. Or I am very afraid. Something. When you use all these, they immediately mean that you are describing something that is immediately evident to you. This does not require any further explanation. You are just articulating it to some others, maybe, that I am joyful. But the fact that you are joyful does not require any other further validation. The fact that you are sorrowful does not require any other validation. It is immediate, and then you are using the words to describe it. Any word you can use for that. In English, we will use this set of words. Or similarly, if you say, I am aware does not require any further explanation. I am aware is I am aware. What do you mean? There's no meaning. There's no meaning to it. I am aware. No further explanation, no further justification needed. So if you talk about you being joyful, you being aware, you can bring many things into it, but I will use these two simple things. These two are very obvious. So these two do not require any further explanation from your side as to what is it. But when you say, I am people may not say it openly, it may be happening in their heads. Sometimes they tell it openly also. When you tell to yourself or when you tell others, I am a good person, is that immediately evident as I am joyful? If you say I am a good person, it necessarily is based on a certain explanation. This I did, therefore I am good. This I talked, therefore I am good. I am good means in the moral sense I'm talking. Morality. Whenever you say I am good to yourself or to someone else, it is something that requires an explanation. It requires a justification. You will tell, I did this particular thing and therefore I am good. And you may ask further question. Okay, you did that, so what? Why does that make you good? Then you have to explain again. You see, there will be layers and layers of explanations. You can go on. You can make a whole philosophy out of it. Why this particular act was good, you can make a whole philosophy. So the moment you say, I am a good person, or the moment these feelings, this kind of approach comes into your head, if you try to be a good person, you will become a bundle of explanations. If you try to become a good person, what you become, your entire experience now, or your entire basis of your claim is coming from memory. It has nothing to do with what I am experiencing now. It is a huge bundle, heap of explanation. You will accumulate explanations based on what you did, what you said, so many things, whatever situations you have gone through, how you responded to it, all that, the huge memory contributes to your goodness, you being good, which means the more good you are, the bigger a psychological mass you are. When you try to be good, what you are becoming is more and more rooted in your psychology. When you become more of a good person, you are more of a mental person. Are you getting this? The moment an explanation comes, it has become a burden. It may not be in your conscious memory all the time. But see, people live like this for 20, 30, 40 years. 40 years of accumulation will be there, and that will come, that psychological mass will show itself. That's what is called as people throwing their weight around. You will acquire so much weight. And when you become good after 40 years of living good, nobody can even touch you. You will flare up because that is your very existence. That entire explanation, that justification is your existence. That memory, that big heap of memory. It has become so rigid, so heavy. It actually takes away your ease. It takes away your joy. It takes away all the things. Good people will become bitter. Good people will become very heavy in their experience. Good people will become very touchy. Are you following all this? And then when the experience of life will go on becoming more and more mediocre, it will go on becoming more and more lousy, because now my whole existence is an explanation. It will become a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger heap, bigger and bigger psychological mass. The experience of your life will become more and more mediocre. When it becomes more and more mediocre, you will react to it again and acquire more explanation. You will make another philosophy. You will see it all over happening. I'm not talking about things that only philosophers do. Why do you think that in Facebook or in other social media that you find quotes such as good people suffer more? Why do you think these quotes are coming? Because they are trying to base their whole life on their goodness, whatever that is. A huge set of explanations, finally. The set of explanations are there. This has made their life heavy. This has made their experience of life mediocre. So the experience of life is becoming mediocre, but I'm a good person. So what's happening? Now I have to explain this also. So what is the explanation? Good people always suffer more. Good people they'll go further. Good people are tested more by God. Therefore, you will suffer more. You will justify your mediocrity of experience with further explanation, because now you cannot give up that goodness, explanation of goodness that you have made up. It will become vicious. It will go on. This one point I have written in the book also. You will see another hidden conclusion in people. I have seen this in everybody. They need not be very intellectual as such. People have arrived at a certain conclusion that what we call as bliss meaning, having tears and all that, tears of bliss, experience of bliss, ecstasy, and all that intense experiences which are represented by those words. People have come to some kind of conclusion, assumption that bliss is supposed to be sporadic. It's supposed to be rare. Every day if you are blissful, that means you are mad. People have come to that conclusion. Do you know that? Do you see it? When I ask people a simple question, like suppose, okay, you wanted a particular house, a particular vehicle, car, or whatever. You went after it, you got it. And now you are sitting inside that car, you are sitting in that house. Are you shedding tears of bliss? When your car upgraded itself from Maruti to Mercedes, did your experience of life become from joy to bliss, and it became ecstasy, and now you are all so ecstatic in your... No, it's not. And they have come to the conclusion. They will, if I ask this question, they will say bliss and all it's a very, very intense experience. It is supposed to be rare. Once in a while, blue moon, it is supposed to happen. All other times, life has bitterness also. That's why we eat jaggery and neem in our Yugadi. Life has both things. You'll make philosophy, more philosophy, more philosophy, more philosophy. You don't want to give up this addiction that you have to this mental construct of being good. So philosophies, philosophies, philosophies. They will say blissfulness is supposed to be rare. Misery is supposed to be there. It should be there. They will tell. Suffering it should be there. Sorrow should be there. Yeah, life. Otherwise, what is the beauty in life? When we have some snacks in Bangalore, it is famous. Sweet Kara coffee. There should be sweet also. There should be Kara also. There should be coffee also. Coffee is bitter. Kara is Kara, spicy, and sweet should be there. Everything should be there. Only then it is life. Justification. They're justifying it not because that's how life is. They're justifying it because they their experience of life is becoming heavier and heavier, and they don't want to give up that particular psychological mass which they are holding on to, and therefore more and more philosophies. So it will go into a more and more vicious cycle, more and more vicious cycle. It will become bigger and bigger psychological mass, and people will do it in the name of spirituality also, unfortunately. They will do it. Some people will say, I am long-term meditator. You cannot be a long-term meditator. You are trying to find some uniqueness for yourself and some specialty for yourself based on some memory. Immediately spirituality is gone. It's out of the window. Spirituality means you are trying to live on immediate fact, immediate experience. What is my immediate experience of life? As I was telling earlier, if you say I am sorrowful, it is immediate, requires no further explanation. If you say I am joyful, requires no further explanation. So you see what is my immediate experience of life. And our immediate experience of life, of course, has some sorrow in it. Then you look at it, what's happening? Why is it there? There must be something wrong. Instead, subconsciously, people react to it and they will try to cover that sorrow, that misery which is there presently, with morality. Morality is the exact opposite of spirituality. I know people somehow think that morality is the stepping stone to spirituality. It is not. Morality is the very opposite of spirituality. Morality will take you into an unending psychological streak. It will make you more and more and more psychological. It can never make you more rooted in experience. Are you following this? If you listen to this, whatever I am telling, I will continue. I'll explain a few more things. I'm asking you again and again, do you understand? Because after this talk, if you don't take the entirety of what I said, you will become a bigger mess. You will say, oh, he was saying there is no morality, we need not be good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm pointing out something more fundamental that people are doing to themselves. I will explain further. Many more questions will come when this is said, and it will require, you have to see more things. What people are trying to do now, because there is an assumption now, they think that if I be a good person, somehow my life will become better. Somehow my experience of life will improve. Somehow joy will come to me if I am a good person. And what I was pointing out was their opposites. If you try to be a good person, you will never be joyful. You will become more and more mental. People have that. It has been culturally conditioned in all kinds of cultures. You have to do good, and tomorrow it will give you joy, whatever. Tomorrow, experience will tomorrow. Today you have to be good. And that goes into a vicious cycle. So if you ask what else has to be done, you just see your own experience. When somebody is feeling pleasant, when somebody is feeling at ease, there is no clutter, there is clarity, there will be clarity of perception, You will be more efficient in what you do. You will be more human in your relationships with others. The moment there is joyfulness, the moment there is pleasantness, it will immediately, automatically start exuding itself outside, and it will reflect in what you do. What comes out of your pleasantness is what others start calling as good. You have no business labeling it. You forget about it. Your experience of life is pleasant, and therefore you will talk in a certain way. I don't mean that you will talk always nice like this. I don't mean that. You will have clarity. Your level of perceptivity will rise. Whenever you are pleasant, your brain will function better. Your sharpness of perception will be there. You will know what is the best thing to do in a given situation. What should I respond to this person? What should I do in this particular situation will become more and more clear to you. You will know what is more appropriate. You will become more sweet in your interactions, whatever. Or if you need it, you will become more strict, whatever. Will all come out of, because this one is at ease, this one is pleasant, then so many things will happen, and whatever happens out of it, others will label it, oh, he is a good person. Let them label whatever they want. You don't bother about it. But you see actually what happened. It did not happen because you were trying to be good. If you try to be good, you will only become a mental mess. Whereas if you are rooted in some self-evident fact of your present experience of life, out of that pleasantness, something will happen and you don't have to bother about it. Others may label it. You don't care. So you see very clearly now that these two are opposites. Whatever spirituality wants to do and whatever morality tries to do, or whatever people are trying to do with morality, they're exact opposites. By trying to be good, you will never become joyful. By trying to be good, you will only become more and more heavy, because you understand all that. If you want to summarize, I'll summarize. When you try to be good, you are trying to become a bundle of explanations. It has no other way to it. You see it. Me being good is not a self-evident fact. You need to explain it. And so many things will come. You will say it is subjective. If I say something is good, somebody will say bad. So many things will come. It's a big mess. The moment you go into explanations, it's a huge mess. See, if your armpit is smelling, or if your mouth is smelling, even that is much more self-evident than your goodness. See, that is why advertisements are being made that you have how to get your partner. Have a good smelling armpit. Have a good smelling mouth. That is how you will get your life partner. That's how advertisements are happening, isn't it? Because that is much more self-evident. Whether you're good or not, how to see. So your life partner did not choose you because you were good. They chose you because I am giving that example. I don't know how many of you recognize it. I'm giving that example because the extremes look similar. I won't go into it now again. Whatever it is with the body is immediately evident. Similarly, whatever it is with your core life is immediately evident. The in-between region is all your psychology, which is a mess, which is not evident, which is mishmash, hodgepodge. So why I gave the example of all this deodorant and mouth freshener and toothpaste ads, what they're trying to show is the odor of your mouth is immediately evident. People will get attracted to you. The smell of your armpit is immediately evident. People will get attracted to you. Your goodness is not. For you to prove to somebody you are good, you need a lot of, if the other person is a dim-witted person, you will convince them very easily. If they are smart, it will go into an unending issue, lifelong issue. You will have to go on explaining that forever. So your goodness is not even as evident as the odor of your mouth. So what we are supposed to do, what we are supposed to work on when we say spirituality, we are supposed to pay attention to the immediate experience of life, not goodness. Why I am describing these things is, See, the very describing of this will stop that deterioration, will stop that vicious cycle if you see this clearly. Because the immediate instinct in people is, okay, then what should we do? Then what should we do? Don't ask me. I am trying to corner the stupidity. When the stupidity is cornered and strangled, intelligence will come. Don't ask somebody else what to do. This is the main purpose of spiritual talks, to strangle human stupidity, not human stupidity, to strangle the stupidity of thought, to strangle the contradiction of thought, to arrest the vicious cycle which thought has presently gotten itself into in the name of spirituality also sometimes. The very purpose of spirituality is to arrest it. If you see this is stupid, yes, this is stupid, this is going into a vicious cycle, at least that deterioration will stop. If it stops, your intelligence will start functioning. If I explain this further, it goes further into what I was wanting to say. The mechanism of morality, why does it even come into picture, is because of this. I have seen this in my talks also, in others talks also, and the unfortunate thing is that is because many spiritual talks have become more moral talks. The mechanism of morality is only this much. I will start with a very simple example because it is very easy to see. With children, I will give the example of children. Now, suppose there is a 4-year-old, 5-year-old child, a girl or a boy, and the child has certain tendencies, certain compulsions. And let's say that that particular child eats very fast, drinks water very fast, something. It's always in a hurry. You see that and you tell that child, no, drink slowly, drink water slowly. Okay. I'm giving a very simple example. It need not necessarily complicate itself always, but I will take the worst case scenario and I'm going with it because the worst case scenario is what adults are doing to themselves in the inside. This example, what I'm giving need not be happening exactly as it is. So you told the child, drink slowly. Now the child's brain has not developed. Even if you tell the child, if you drink fast, you may choke yourself or all that. Child doesn't understand something. Now what the child does is, the child will immediately take that as an authority being imposed by somebody. The adult has told me this and I have to do it. The moment you go into that mode, the moment you think I am listening to somebody telling me, somebody in an authority telling me something to do, I don't know why. I have no clarity why to do it. Somebody told me I have to do this. A huge amount of psychological drama, that is the seed of the entire psychological drama that happens in the human mind actually. I will tell a few possibilities that will happen. And it depends on the relationship between that elder and the child also. So many things will come. If that adult has earned the child's respect, if the adult is truly an inspiration for the child and all that, then the child may actually do it without looking at that as an authority. The child will innately think, okay, I have to do this, that's all. It will just do it. But if that is missing, and the chemistry is missing, and the adult simply told, and this is what happens, unfortunately. It is the beginning of an entire psychological drama. Now, what the child will, many possibilities are there. Now, what the child may do is, one thing is the child may react, drink so slowly that finally you will tell the child, no, drink a little fast. This is what we say childish. Human adults also do it. Within their head, they keep doing it. It will become subtler and subtler, that's all, but they do it. The one possible reaction. Because why? Because he told me, I want to drink fast. I still want to drink fast. But an adult who has power over me, authority, told me to drink slow. So now I will react. I will drink I will make sure the adult is seeing. Every time I drink water, adult is seeing. I will come in front of the adult, slowly sip, so that the adult will get irritated and tell, drink a little fast. So the child will make the adult tell what the child actually wants to do. Then the child will again drink fast and then tell, you only told me. A game, psychological game. That is one possibility. The other possibility is the child may rebel. I will drink fast. What you will do? I will drink even more fast. I will pour water like this and I will spill it all over the place. Who are you to tell me? I will spill it all over the place. That's another possibility. These are extremes. And the actual problem is not in this. The actual problem lies in somewhere in between, in the gray area. What the child will do now is it will come in front of the adult, make sure that the adult is seeing that I am drinking slowly, and it will keep an account. It will drink water slowly for a week, and after a week it will come. After a week, suppose you tell the child something else. You tell something else, do this, do like that. Child will say, you told me to do that, I did that for a week. Don't tell me one more thing. Now it is my turn. I will tell you something, now you do something. Should I go on? It will go on. It's a huge psychological game. There is even more cunningness possible. The child will drink the water slowly for a while in front of the adult. Make sure the adult watches it. Then afterwards, slowly drink faster because I still want to drink faster. The fact is, my compulsion is still there. I still don't know why I have to drink slowly. Somebody simply told me, gave a moral, do this, it is good for you. So I still want to drink slowly, so fast. So I will drink slowly. I will suppress myself, drink slowly for 2-3 days. Fourth day, I will come in front of the adult, or the adult probably says, I will be again drinking a little fast. Okay. Now the adult will tell, I told you to drink slowly. And what will the child say? Now the child will start arguing. I am drinking slowly. You are not seeing properly. More and more cunningness. Now the whole game is, I have been given a rule. Somebody has given me a rule. Drink water slowly. So subconsciously, I have made that as the criteria for me to get points. See, I know I cannot simply dismiss that elder. I know unconsciously, I know there must be something to it. But I'm rebelling, I'm doing something because I still want to do it. I don't know why I have to drink slowly. So I will not dismiss what the elder said entirely. I still know there must be some significance to what they said. Now I want best of both worlds. I want to continue my compulsion. I want to continue drinking water fast. At the same time, I want the certificate that I am doing what he said. I want the moral certificate also. I want to continue doing what I do also. Are you following? After a point, the adult will not even become relevant. The adult will recede to the background. The person will no more be relevant. The child will just play that game within its own head. And it will accumulate points. The adult who told that to the child will no more be relevant because the child has anyway dismissed. You can't see properly. I am drinking slowly. You are not able to see. You are not able to evaluate me properly. The child will say something, dismiss that elder, but it will still hold on to that thing which the elder said because now that is now a means for me to get points. Psychological game. I will go on doing this. See, this may not happen exactly as I said. The child may grow up, it will understand why I have to drink slowly and it will go away. The moment child understands why I have to drink water slowly, it is no more an intellectual. How slowly? How fast? Give me a rule. It will know, it will go away. Immediately, child will do what it has to do. So child may outgrow this. This is a very, very simple example, I guess. So children, as they grow, will outgrow this. As their brain develops, they will outgrow all these silly things. But do you think human beings have actually outgrown? They have not. They are playing this game in more and more and more subtle ways, using scriptures, using teachers, because it is very, very easy to do it with scriptures because scriptures, whoever wrote them, are not in front of you. They will not even come and argue with you. You are not doing what I said. The entire power is in your hands to interpret the scripture. You will become more and more of a psychological game. You will play more and more of these tricks. Sometimes it will become very, very obvious. You can see it happening in very, very childish form sometimes. They will say, in the Gita, Krishna told like this, and they will quote something and they will do something absurd, and such things become evident. But don't think that it is not happening when it is not so evident. It is still happening. The game is still happening. So they will use a scripture, they will use a guru, dead guru or a living guru, whatever. They'll pick things. The statement might have been made for some other reason. You will understand it in your own way. You will do it in your own way and get points for yourself. See, this very thing, what I explained just now, when I said morality is the exact opposite of spirituality, it is a very subtle point I pointed out. No scripture is pointing that out. Even if they had pointed out, it will lead to further mess because you will understand it in your own way. You will not see what fundamental point is being made when that is being said. This very idea of being good and bad is the exact opposite of being aware. Good and bad pertain to the psychological realm. It belongs to explanations. It becomes a psychological mass. Whereas being aware, being joyful, being pleasant, being at ease, all this pertain to something more. They make you lighter. They make you liberated. They make you more clear. The more rooted in thought you are, the more cluttered you are. People say clarity of thought. There is no such thing. There is only clarity, and then there is thought. So these are opposites. So I pointed that out. I explained it. I hope you saw what I said. But if I wrote this as a statement somewhere in a book and all the other explanations are lost, only that line remained, morality is the exact opposite of spirituality. What do you think people will do out of it? You understand? When I say morality is the exact opposite of spirituality, I am dismissing both these labels, good as well as bad. When I am dismissing morality, I am not dismissing only one half of your psychology. I am dismissing psychology itself. I'm telling, by doing that, your experience of life will not improve. It will not enhance. It will not become more profound. You will only become more and more mental. Do you now see why a mental health pandemic is coming? Because this is all that is happening everywhere. You open social media, this is all that is happening. People are trying to find explanations for why they are good or even why they're spiritual also. You do a certain thing, you spiritual. No, it never works like that. So coming back to what I was saying, that is a mechanism of morality. The very source of morality is you are not able to see something. The source of morality is blindness. The source of morality is lack of clarity. Somebody said something, I have no idea why, but I will do it and get points. Now you think you are doing it to get points. You are not supposed to drink water for you to get psychological points and for you to redeem it later in Swarga. You are drinking water slowly so that some trouble doesn't happen to you. You avoid trouble because that is not in tune with the reality of the body. You are just trying to be in tune with the truth by drinking water slowly. You are not doing any achievement. Drinking water is a very, very simple example. But you see now, if you correlate it to reality, what people are doing to themselves. That's what, one time, one student told me, it comes out in people's statements many times. So one student told me, we have to pursue spirituality because our sages have told us to do it. It is our duty. No spirituality after that. Now your whole thing is this game, mental game. You will create a half, the sage half, and me. This half is always trying to please the sage half. Am I spiritual or not? Am I obeying the sage or not? No, you are doing spiritual pursuit because you are thirsty. You drink water because you are thirsty. Don't turn drinking water into an activity. That's what is told in another way as karma. You will become such a huge karma. If you think you are drinking water because some great sage told drinking water is my duty, you will become a huge karma. You will become a huge psychological mass. Because you will go on doing this. You see, without your knowledge, you will keep an account of it. You will become a bigger and bigger mass of psychological imprints, memory. I have done this for so long. It's a huge memory is there, validation. So you are not supposed to drink water for somebody else's sake. You are thirsty, you are drinking water. No other reason. You are pursuing spirituality because you are thirsty. That is as simple as that. You are not pursuing spirituality because some sage told it. Never do your spirituality because a sage said something. Fundamental point is you are coming into this because you are hungry. Acknowledge the reality of your experience. Your experience of life is mediocre. You want something more. Therefore, you are coming to spirituality. This is not your duty. It cannot be any other way. Don't even bring duty into this. If I am thirsty, I will drink water. There is no other way to it. I will tell one more point, which is also the source of intellectual fouls. These are all interconnected intellectual fouls. People always portray the word choice as a very great word. You should always have choice. If there is no choice, that means there is bondage. They understand if somebody has restricted you, you have no choice. You have to do what they say. That you understand. Therefore, you say freedom means having choice. That's not true. If you have clarity of perception, you have no choice. How can I do anything else? This is the only thing I can do. So where is the choice? You follow this? The more clarity of perception you have no choice. After that, you can talk of it in both ways. That's why I always point out these extremes look similar. These extremes look similar, but it is not the same here anymore. You can talk of this as absolute choice, or you can say there is no choice. See, why do you think I am coming and giving this talk here? I don't have a choice. I don't know what else needs to be done. This is the thing needs to be done. Because I see something clearly, I see this is what needs to be said. I don't have a choice. I'm not doing it out of my free will and choice. There are no such things. The moment you are aware, the more conscious you are, you have no choice. Others will call all that. Look at his determination. Look at his, what is that word? Look at his willpower. Look at his fortitude. They will talk all that. They're trying to describe you. They have no idea what's happening with you. Are you following all this? It's been somewhat described in the book also. So this very idea of having choice is itself a delusion. When you say choice, you are actually telling you don't have clarity. You don't know whether you should do this or that, means you don't have clarity. If you have clarity, you will know what to do. The more the voltage of the light is increased, there is more light, there is more clarity, you will walk. Why you did not hit against that chair? Why you did hit against the wall? What? There is light, I'm walking. Why are you asking me as if hitting the chair or this as a choice? It's not a choice. I will walk straight. I will not hit the chair. It's absolute choice. And another way, there is no choice. Because our extremes look similar. I was trying to point out what is the source of morality. The source of morality is lack of clarity. Somebody said something. I don't know why they said it. You will consider that as some authority telling you something, and after that, a huge psychological game will start. And that is happening because there is no clarity. So whenever people ask me this question, I have seen people asking this in other spiritual talks also. See, now, for example, I told all these things. After this talk is over, if any one of you ask me, so according to you, what should we do? The whole talk has gone to the drainage. If you use the word according to me, if you use the word then tell us what to do, the whole talk has gone into sewage. You understand? I am only trying to point out something. It is happening as it is. I'm just trying to articulate it. For me, articulation is not required. Articulation is required when you have to tell somebody else. So I'm using my thought, using my language, whatever I'm describing. Now, if using this, if you don't see what I said, only then you will ask this question. So what are you asking us to do? I'm not asking you to do anything. Don't go to a spiritual talk, please, if this is what you do. Don't go to a spiritual talk if after the spiritual talk you get this question. Tell us what to do. See, if I tell you you have to do pranayama every day, that's a very different matter. That's not a psychological thing. If I tell you do yogasana every day, pranayama every day, that's a very different thing. Fine. Don't bring that. I'm talking about the psychological dimension where people are asking, what trick? What you're basically asking is, what next trick should I play? That's what you're asking. When you ask somebody, what should I do? Because that is the instinctive reaction of the human mind. When I say taking authority and simply trying to obey it, what you are trying to do is, you are not able to see, the vision is not clear, so therefore you have taken a rule from somebody. Now you are trying to, eyes are still closed, you are trying to walk with that rule. You will again fall, obviously, because that rule will not capture all kinds of situations. Then you will ask, I fell, now what should I do? Then you're asking for another rule. You'll ask another rule. You think you can walk in a dark room by making psychological rules? See, if all the things are static around you, maybe you will be able to make a set of rules and know where which thing is and go. But do you think the world is static? Everything is moving, absolutely moving. Your psychology cannot capture it with rules. The only way to handle this is stop your investment of energy to this thought process. This viciousness is happening. People are becoming more and more complicated supandis. That's what I usually mean. They make up rules for themselves and they think if they live by that, something will happen to them. They'll fall down, make another rule, exception. They'll become a huge psychological maze. After some point, anyway, it won't be so complicated. It will all go into the subconscious. Consciously, people are not potent enough to carry a maze anyway, but it will become subconscious. Their very behavior will show that. The very way they talk, the very way they move, everything will become evident. What they're trying to do. So it will go into this viciousness. If you ask somebody, okay, you have shown us what is actually now happening. So now tell us what to do. You are asking for another rule. That's the instinctive reaction. See, psychology does not want to lose its power over you. That's what it is. And therefore, you ask for another rule. Whereas, the more and more clearly you see, yes, this is happening, this is what is happening, intelligence will function. You don't have to ask somebody what has to be done. Awareness is something that cannot be taught. Intelligence cannot be taught. This is what everybody is struggling with. See, people may, if I explain all this, people will say, we are not so intellectual, we don't understand what you're saying. But you see what they're doing in their life, this is all they're doing. They're trying to somehow capture life with a set of rules. They're trying to capture something that does not have a resolution with pixels. You're trying to capture life with 120, 80, 720 pixels. Pixels means rigid packets. Intellect, that's how it functions. It will make rules, packets of rules, maze of rules, if else conditions in programming and all you'll see. So you're trying to capture life with a psychological maze. So again, if you ask that question, it is that maze trying to suck you back. And unfortunately, it will happen in spiritual forums also, spiritual teachers, because they are also not aware of this fundamental subtle fact. They will also yield to it. The student will ask something and the teacher will start, because they are also somewhat mental, they will yield to it. And spiritual talks will end up becoming moral talks. This is the mechanism of morality. This is the source of morality. Another way that this perpetuates, another expression of this perpetuation of the vicious cycle is people always try to feel good about themselves by saying that there is good in me, there is bad in me, and the good and bad are fighting. Now I am a great warrior. I'm trying to fight the good, bad, and then one day good will win. This is another way of expressing the psychological madness. People unfortunately talk like that in India also. They say Mahabharata is a representation of what happens in the human mind. The good side is Pandava, bad side is Kaurava, and they're fighting, and finally Pandavas will win. Good will win with the help of God. You will make such a huge cunning mess out of this. And what is happening out of this is, by fighting like this within your mind, you're going on reinforcing, you're going on further justifying the reality which you have given to thought. You are not trying to dismiss it. It is the best example or the metaphor for this is there cannot be a fight between light and darkness. People unfortunately talk like that also. Oh, this festival symbolizes the victory of light over darkness. There is no such thing. Light does not fight with darkness. If light is there, darkness is not there. That's all. Light doesn't come and fight. But people have some romanticizing feelings towards this. They like conflict. They like to feel that they're a big hero. And that is why they go into this mode. Good and bad fighting. You don't fight with darkness. You just increase the voltage of light. Light is not absent now. It is dim. You increase the voltage of light, darkness will go. Don't fight with darkness. The more you fight with darkness, the more you are validating darkness's non-existent reality. You will become more and more mad. That is all. If you become this fight between good and bad. Yes, you wanted to ask something.
Acharya, when we have this Vedic injunctions like Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, or in Mahabharatam, Paropkaram Idam Shariram. So all these injunctions are trying to make us more human and then realize the divinity.
It's there everywhere, not just Vedic literature. All religions so said it. It is there in Yoga Sutra. It is there in Sankhya. Everywhere it is there. Mahavira said it. Buddha said it. Everybody said it. Why this text said like that? Why these spiritual teachers said like that? You are not able to see maybe now. There will be more subtleties to it. The simple way to put it is, if you are violent, physically violent in some way, it will take away the ease in your system. It is not being said for somebody else's sake. See, I gave a very, very silly example to begin with, telling drink water slowly, otherwise it is bring you trouble. It is not in tune with the body's reality. It will make you choke. When people became more and more perceptive, they saw that if you lie, if you are violent, it will take away your ease. And this has lived in, if there is a live tradition, by tradition I don't mean simply namesake, some tradition is happening. If there is a live tradition with certain awareness, if every generation is producing a genuine seeker, set of genuine seekers, and it is producing genuine yogis, then those yogis will keep the live truth alive. They will not turn it into morality. They will not turn it into all these things. So it is there in Buddha's teachings. It is available. The explanation of this is available because Buddha's teachings were very similar also. He also started with this Panchashila or whatever. But how he puts it forth, presently, this is actually a solution. It will, because presently we are in a vicious cycle. How to make it an interdependent virtuous cycle is also there in the mechanism of it is there in the vicious cycle itself. Because our logic always works in linearly. You say, I do this, this will happen, do this, that will happen. It is not so simple. It's always interdependent. So how he used to tell, how he used to clarify to people is, presently you have a certain amount of perceptivity, you have certain awareness, prajna, you have certain prajna. You are not completely dumb. You are not completely unconscious. You are not completely a mental case. Some awareness is there. Whatever your level of perceptivity, whatever is your level of awareness, to that extent, be integrated within yourself. Don't do things which will take into uneasiness. Don't do these things to the extent he didn't give some absolute rule for non-violence. He did not give some absolute rule for truth. This is how he describes. To whatever level of perceptivity you have, to that extent you do. That will enhance the level of ease. Because of that, you will be able to meditate better. Because of that, you will see more clearly. It is an interdependent thing. If you try to do yama niyama and then you try to do asana pranayama, then finally dhyana, you can forget it as well. You can forget it because the moment you do it, it will go into explanations. There is no other way. Do you see it? If you go into the philosophy of non-violence, it will become an unending debate. What is non-violence? What is violence? It will become an unending philosophical thesis. You have to explain. Now, finally, you will not know. I can't breathe also because while breathing also, I'm killing things. What to do now? Should I die? If I die, that's also violence. Your logic will get clogged. This is not the way to approach these things. Whatever level of perceptivity you have, to that extent, you do things which will continue your ease, deepen your sense of ease. It is a fact. If you observe, you will know it. The teachers said something because they saw something. And you see it to the extent you can see it to the extent you can. People may become numb and more numb to it. In social media, people have become numb. They will just say some rubbish and they don't just care whether it is factual or not. Absolutely nothing. They have become numb to it. But it doesn't mean that the churning is not happening. The churning will continue to happen in the subconscious. If you are going on for your personal conveniences, you are lying, you are doing whatever, that churning will happen within you. So you may not be able to see the whole subconscious churning that is happening, but you have some awareness, some consciousness. So you see, when I do a certain thing, it makes me uneasy. It shows on the face also, and others also can catch you actually. Actually, others can catch you. When you lie, when you are not straight with yourself, others can see it on your face. They do lie detection test and whatever. It reminds me of something in the Ramayana. In the Ramayana, when Vibhishana comes from Ravana's side to Rama's side, and he declares, I am Ravana's the brother. I didn't like it there. He's doing all absurd things. He's not listening to anybody. So I have come to join Rama's side. He comes and declares with 4 of his ministers. After that, everybody goes into a huge discussion meeting. How do we believe this fellow? How do we trust this fellow? He could have come to, make us unsuspecting and then kill us sometime. He might have come to evaluate how much power we have. He might have come for whatever reason as a spy. So huge discussion will happen between all these Vanaras. So many will give offer many solutions. They will say, we will also send a spy and try to know what he is actually wanting, all that. Then Hanuman will dismiss all of that and he will say, I know that it is impossible to know what is in someone's mind, exactly what's running in their mind. You cannot know. But looking at how they are speaking, the variations of their intonations and looking at their facial gestures, you can say whether somebody is genuine or not. And I say that Vibhishana is genuine. And Rama agrees with them and they accept whatever. Everybody has, others can see, I'm just telling another point now, others can themselves see whether you are rubbishing, bullshitting or not. Do you think you can't see? Of course you can see. So if you are little aware, whatever is making, whatever is creating this disturbances in you, turmoil in you, you will reduce them. It's not being told for getting moral points. If you take it that way, that's what will happen. This sage has told me I have to follow dharma. I will follow dharma. And then you will wait for a reward. You will wait for that elder to reward you. Or you think you deserve something, deserve to say something in return. You deserve many things, whatever I was telling in terms of the child adult example. You will keep a calculation and you'll think you deserve something. See, why you going to Dharmam Chala Satyam Vada? People get married for their own sake. People remain bachelors for their own sake. Okay, they can give so many hundreds of examples. But they're seeking their own well-being. They thought this will become better for me. This is the better. They did that. After a few years of marriage, not everybody, after a few years of marriage, when the experience of their life has not become mind-blowing, it has not become mind-blowing. It is becoming more and more mediocre. Now they want certificate for their marriage. Marriage is a warrior's life. Marriage life is a whatever, in social media it comes. Everybody wants now points for getting married. Why are you seeking points for getting married? You married for your sake. Or remaining bachelor, whatever. If somebody remains bachelor and then cries, I remain bachelor for the sake of spirituality, now nothing is happening. It doesn't work like that. It is happening like that because you took authority of somebody and you started playing a psychological game. You didn't see the simple fact that these things were being said so that I will become less and less of my mind, not more and more of my mind. So that I will come to more and more ease within me. I will become less and less of psychological mass. I will become more and more aware. That's why it was said. But if you don't see why it was said, that very saying will become the cause of you becoming more and more of mind. Do you see? It's slippery. There may be other possibilities also. For some time, you may do what they said and then come to see what they said. If that happens, fine. If you say, okay, I will do for some time. But don't do it for the sake of becoming a good person which can be redeemed. Don't do it for this purpose. I will do it for some time. What does it do for me? What does it do to me? So with respect to pranayama and all these things, that's what happens. You do this and see what happens. Don't do this because I say. So this is the whole. I don't know if you see, this is one of the most fundamental causes of all human problems. If you ask then how to see better, how to see, first thing is this: stop this vicious cycle which is going on deteriorating, because your psychology is instinctive. It is artificial intelligence. It can survive only if it grows. It will grow with this technique only. Instinctively, it would want to make you do this. Get more and more layers for yourself, more and more layers for the psychological. Whereas if you see, start from simple things. Okay, this is why it is being said. This is why I am doing this. I got married for my sake. I am drinking water for my sake. I am pursuing spirituality for my sake, not for saving the world. Everything, this entire thing applies to the whole spiritual pursuit itself. Spiritual pursuit is not for you to again make up more psychological layers. And when you strangle, I'll just tell this final thing and finish. When you strangle this contradiction, when you strangle this stupidity of thought, when you strangle this vicious cycle, clarity, you will suddenly see it's instantaneous. It doesn't happen in time. See, now I talked something for 1.5 hours. Do you think it occurred to me in 1.5 hours? It doesn't occur to me in 1.5 hours. Nothing for you also, it is happening like that. When you see something, you just see. To articulate it, you will need a lot of time. But for you, it is immediately clear what rubbish is happening. And the moment you see it instantaneously, the next thing also will happen. That is, the strangling of human stupidity is the allowing or the blossoming of human intelligence. They are not different steps. And what people are unwilling to do is that they are unwilling to face their stupidity because they get invested in it. They have already built a psychological maze out of it. Now somebody comes and demolishes that. Can't we? I'm good. I've done this for so long. This maze nobody can touch. I have acquired so many points for myself. See, even when you are, just another example, when somebody plays a video game, they'll get some points. They'll get, some people will become marathon. They'll play marathon, they'll get addicted, they'll play, they'll get among lakhs and crores of points. If that video game crashes, if that system crashes, they may even commit suicide because their whole life is in that point. Non-existent video game point. That was their achievement. To show somebody. I mean, this may not happen exactly as it is, but it will take them into, my whole points are gone. The entire video game I played for years. Billions of points I accrued, it's all gone. They will not even allow anybody to come to that system and work on it. This is just an external expression, but people are always doing it within themselves. They have played a video game, acquired points, nobody come near now. I will only go to spiritual teachers who will support us. I will only go to spiritual teachers who will give me more points, which is the exact opposite of spirituality. Spiritual talks are just meant to demolish thought structures. They're not meant to give you another good structure. Spiritual talks are not meant to give you a divine structure of thought, holding on to which you will become. There is no such thing. There is no divinity in thought structures. There is nothing. The divinity also, or what is the opposite of it? Devil things also, whatever. Thought is just thought. You are labeling it this way, that way, whatever you are doing and playing a game with it. If you need to use the faculty of thought for some reason, you use it, but don't make it the basis of your existence. Don't go into this game. Finally, this is what makes people mental. These video game points, non-existent reality. I've given so much reality. Now nobody can touch it. Nobody can even come close to it. I will become anything but joyful after that. I only talked of goodness. Same thing happens with righteousness also. Righteousness is another game, right, wrong. Same thing. Whatever I talked of good, bad, same thing happens with right and wrong also. So ultimately, people will become righteous, people will become good, but they're miserable. Miserable, righteous people are no good. Miserable people can only multiply misery in the world, even if they think they are doing righteous things. Okay, it can be no other way. They will tell, I'm telling this for your own good. Do this, they will tell you. But when they say they are telling for your own good, again, word good is being used. You can see, only as far as you can see life, that much good you can do to others. Finally, it depends on your clarity of perception, not how much good you are. How far you can see into life, that much well-being you can show to others or indicate to others, whatever. Whenever somebody goes into spirituality, all these so-called elders will give this. I'm telling this for your own good. Later you will repent. Now don't do. Because they have not done anything more than that. They have just done their survival. They have not done anything else. All they can indicate or teach their children or somebody else is survival. I am telling this for your own good, means your own security, your own future, whatever it is. Because they cannot see beyond it. They have not seen beyond it. They have not done anything. And then they say their experience of life is mediocre. But they say I'm a good person, therefore I will tell you what is good. Do this. So you see, it's the big mess. They will do upavasa thinking they are doing upavasa to please some God. You are doing upavasa to for your own body's well-being, nothing else. So they think they do upavasa for somebody. And then when something goes wrong, they will like, I followed so many vratas for so many days, but still this happened to me. And hereafter I will not do anything. If there are people like that, I know. You think somebody else will lose because of you not doing upavasa. Yeah, what you are trying to say?
So, Acharya, based on that being pleasant and the clarity of perception, one question I got is like, are are we saying like, okay, Rama was blissful always, and that's why he was that kind of person? Because what I'm
Yes,
saying is, we try to leave that. See, many people say that you should live like Rama. Okay, but we are actually so much agitated and so much in
live
thought
like
process.
Rama.
Live like Rama means you follow him, his patience.
I didn't say.
No. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're saying. I'm saying ki the overall perception is that you should live like Rama. He's an example to lead. But I think now I get from this lecture what I can make is he was pleasant and that's why he was like that.
Yes,
And we are not pleasant and we are trying to be like that. And that's why we are getting agitated.
yes.
Okay.
If I explain that, it will go on, but it is already 1.5 hours.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I get that. Because
I can
naturally
explain
blissful.
more with respect to Ramayana later, maybe
Hmm.
another talk. But what you said is correct. Everything has been reversed. So when we say Rama is Vishnu's avatar, he came from somewhere and therefore he was like that, you have dug your own grave. Because now you think he's doing it because it's free for him. He's doing it out of because he was a VIP.
Hmm.
He can do, we can't do. He was able to do it because he was established in many places in Ramayana. I don't know why people miss this. In many places in Ramayana, he is described by many people as Atmavit. He was Atmavit. He was established in his true nature. Then he was undergoing whatever outside. You will see him in turmoil, whatever. You will see many things. But that is his activity, what he was doing outside, what he was talking outside, is not the source of why he was Rama. He was Rama because he was Atmavit. Atma Rama. Not
Very
because he
great
can.
clarity.
Huh?
Very great clarity because I mean, really, this has got a great thought to me that we should strive to become Atmavit, blissful, and then that the resulting nature of being good is it is a result. We are
Yeah,
actually
whatever you label, you don't have to label it after that.
yes, got it. We are
See,
going the other
whether
way
it is
around.
good or bad or others tell dharma, adharma, whatever, it's all others telling, describing you. You have nothing to do with it. You'll see that more in Krishna's life. He didn't care what people said. People said he is cunning. They said he's whatever. He just did what he wanted to do. It will look like he was just a cunning politician. But he was very clear. This is what has to be done now. I don't care what you label me. So the spiritual pursuit, what spiritual pursuit then is, it's a different thing. But spiritual pursuit is not moral pursuit. That's I want to distinguish. If you go after becoming good person, if you go after doing right things and that right things will give me something, no, it won't. It's the exact opposite of spirituality. Spirituality is something else altogether.
Very clear.
Okay, fine. And I'm laughing because I don't know whether this will become further psychological layers for you.
No. It's very clear.
Okay.